Hello, all of you people, and welcome back to the Isekai Kingdom. Today, we are going to be talking about a show that is notorious in the anime community. What's its name? You all probably know by the title of this, but its name, forgive my terrible handiwork in paint, is School Days. Yes, I'm aware that looks terrible. Don't mock me. Now, what am I doing? Wrong one. Now, why are we talking about School Days? Because I recently watched it in its entirety yesterday, and I thought it merited a video because it broke my entire rating system. Now, how did it break my rating system? Well, we'll get to that. First, I want to explain the plot for those who have not seen School Days. I recommend seeing it first, but if you don't want to, you can come look at my plot. So we got this character. Okay, that's it. Oh gosh, damn it. So we got this character here. His name is Makoto. Yes, I added a weird accent to that. It's gonna happen every time, or majority of times. And Makoto here, he is our MC. See? That is a little small. MC Makoto. Alright, that's all you need to know about Makoto. He's our MC right now. We've got another character here. Her name, if I remember correctly, is Konohana? I could be slightly wrong with that. And she, I would say, is one of our main heroines. Okay. So we got Konohana here, who's the main heroine. We got Makoto here, who's our main character. We have another main heroine, and her name is Sakai. Oh gosh, damn it. Blah blah. So we got Sakai here, we got Konohana, and then we have a bunch of characters I'm gonna call Girl X, Dude Y, and then the Girl Gang. These can support people. We've got Sakai's best friend, and we have Sakai's friend group. Because Sakai's friend D. Okay. So the main plot of this game, not the game. The game is a visual novel that I'm gonna play here on the channel here in a soon. As soon as I download it, you guys wait for that. But basically, Makoto here likes Konohara. Konohara likes Makoto. Alright. So Sakai plays matchmaker and hooks up Makoto and Konohara. Okay. So these two here are in a relationship. Is there a straight line tool? There is. Voila voila. See, relationship there. Okay. Then Makoto, because he is having a hard time in his relationship with Konohana, he has been asking Sakai here for help. Sakai, like any good friend, gives him lots of good advice until the advice becomes bad. And then Sakai and Makoto begin having a relationship behind Konohana's back. And if this wasn't enough, Makoto hasn't broken up with Konohana yet. He's told her, or no, he hasn't, but she finds out about this relationship with Sakai's best friend. And Sakai's best friend does her best to stop this relationship. Or not stop it, but she does her best to support their Sakai and Makoto's relationship. Because Sakai has told her best friend that Makoto has broken up with Konohara. But by this line, you can clearly tell they have not broken ties. So Sakai's best friend finds out that Makoto has not broken up with Konohana. So, what does she do but block Konohana on Makoto's phone? She does a whole bunch of other stuff too, but that's the main thing. Then, there's this... Then Girl X over here. Okay. Girl X is the leader of the girl gang. Okay. But Girl X sleeps with Makoto. And starts to have not a relationship per se, more like friends with benefits. Okay. Makoto still hasn't broken up with Konohana and is now cheating on Sakai as well. So, what happens next? Well, obviously, they hook up at the fall festival. In this room where there's a special tradition. But one of the members of the girl gang here has recorded this relationship. And Sakai is at that party because one of the members of her best friend group wanted to see what, or brought her to the party. So Sakai sees the video of these two. Alright? So Sakai is very upset and stays in her room for many days, as she should. Which only leads to more problems because then the girl gang all sleeps with Kai, or Makoto. And then, actually first, Sakai's best friend tries to stop Makoto from being in a relationship. So he finally breaks it off with, what's her name? Konohana. Bam. No longer in a relationship. Navala. But in order to do so, she lets him sleep with her. Bam. New relationship. But she's leaving for France 2 days after the party or something like that. So, she's now gone. But she slept with Makoto now. So I'll leave it like that. But because Sakai is still sequestered in her room, Makoto then sleeps with the entirety of the girl gang, who's the bullies of Konohana. And the best friends of Girl X. He then proceeds to also sleep with Sakai's friend B. Now, as all of this has been going on, Dude Y has been trying his gosh damn hardest to get with Konohana. And at the festival, Konohana decides, or finds out that he has been cheating on her with her, and her, and her. And this is before he's finally broken the ties. So she sleeps with Dude Y. Bam. Bam. Dude Y sleeps with Konohana. But Konohana, immediately after doing so, regrets it and breaks the tie. Bam. No more relationship between these two. He wants it. She does not. So, what happens next? Well, Sakai's best friend is gone to France, so she's no longer here. Sakai is sequestered in her room, but realizes she's pregnant. So what does she do? The responsible thing. She goes to school and tells Makoto. Kind of in the front of the entire class, on accident, because she was yelling at him. But, oh well. So, what happens? Sakai's friend B stops sleeping with him. Girl X stops sleeping with him because he's a jerk. the girl gang stops sleeping with him. Sakai doesn't. But Makoto is at this point a douche. He's an asshole. And so what does he do? Even though he's got Sakai here, who's gonna have his kid, he has this brilliant idea. Because this one character has been mentally broken down since the beginning of the show due to Makoto. She just wants to get back together with him. So Makoto gets back together with Konohana. I know what you're thinking. Man, Makoto has relationship problems. Not just that, he has commitment issues. So what does Makoto do now that he is back in the relationship with Konohana? Well, he obviously gets a phone call from Sakai. Because Sakai is at Makoto's house making dinner. And Sakai wants Makoto to come home so he can eat dinner with Sakai. But Makoto is having dinner with Konohana. So he refuses to come home. And then he screams at Sakai to leave, get out of his house. And not act like he's a girlfriend. So Sakai leaves. But on the way home, she sees a train that has Makoto and Konohana on it. So she follows them back to Makoto's house. Which leads to her screaming at Konohana. And Konohana screaming at Sakai. Alright. So then Sakai leaves. And so the next day, Makoto gets a text from Sakai saying that she after Makoto sends Sakai a text first saying that Konohana has a clinic she can go to for a certain topic that you shouldn't bring up on the internet. That starts with an A and ends in a shun and involves children. But Makoto has this brilliant idea to send her this text. So, because Makoto sent Sakai this text, Sakai goes batshit crazy. And she says she just needs to talk to Makoto for a little bit. So she goes over to Makoto's house, she's making tea, and then she sends Makoto a text saying, sorry, goodbye. But because he's had to leave the room to go look at his phone and his back is to the door, she comes in and she kills Makoto. I need a different color. Here we go. She kills Makoto. See? So Sakai has killed Makoto. Well, Konohana comes home to see Makoto. She calls up Sakai with Makoto's phone to meet on a roof. So Sakai, curious to how Makoto is sending her text, decides to go to this roof for some reason, and she is having this argument with Sakai over her child. But Konohana has beheaded Makoto's corpse and has brought it in a bag. So Konohana insists that Sakai can ask Makoto because Konohana is still insane. And then, to prove that Sakai isn't having Makoto's child, Konohana proceeds to kill Sakai. So yes, Sakai killed Makoto, who was beheaded by Konohana, who killed Sakai. And that is how our story ends. And I honestly don't think they could have done a better job with that plotline, in my personal opinion. Because this is what I feel about this show. They chose the absolute worst from the game. I'm pretty sure, because this is the exact plotline every boy in their who's 14 and has somehow picked up this game is gonna go down. Okay. First thing he's gonna do is he's gonna see the Konohana Makoto's line, so he's gonna try to go down it and try to get with Konohana. But he's gonna get tempted off the good line by character X, who wants to sleep with him. So of course he's going to accept. And character B wants to sleep with him, so he's going to accept. And this is what we call harem time. Whatever. Not writing it. Why do we call it that? For one important reason. Because here's the thing. Almost every player, when they first picked up a game, is gonna pick the line where they sleep with everyone. And it's always gonna be the bad ending. There's no right ending that comes from that, unless you're playing, I don't know, Fate maybe? I don't know. But that's always gonna be the bad ending. But the way that they just plucked out the bad ending from the game, rather than picking one of the good endings, you know, like they could have picked an ending where Makoto stays loyal to Konohana or something like that. Or, you know, Makoto doesn't get with Konohana but instead gets with Sakai. Or Makoto actually breaks up with Konohana instead of hanging out with Sakai. Or instead of not. Maybe that would spare her from the insanity that she goes through. I don't know. But I mean, the amount of mental warfare that Konohana has got to go through, you don't blame her. And honestly, the ending was what I asked for. Like, as I was watching the show, I was like, if this doesn't end with someone being stabbed, I will be very upset. But anyway, so all of this goes down, and I'm watching this, and you know that feeling when you watch a show, and you're like, I don't know why, but watching the show makes me incredibly anticipating what's going to happen next. But at the same time, I don't want to know that I do want to know. And so I was watching the show, and I was going through it, and it was really good. And I loved how it's still in that 2000-esque art style. You all know the one. Oh. Ambulance. What was I saying? Right. So this broke my grading scale. Alright. So I have this here grading scale. Right here. Okay. It puts shows that are airing, shows that I'm watching. Now a lot of you would probably, you know, be like, dude, why don't you just use what's that app called? My Anime List. And here's the problem with My Anime List. If something breaks the scale, you don't have anything to do about it. Also, it's nice that I have everything in the same spot, and I can have my list of things to watch. It's a very, very long list, and I'm slowly getting through it. But let's see here. So, for reference, I gave Akira, one of the greatest classics in the world, a 10 out of 10. Alright. I also have ones on here. What did I give a 1? That's a 3. I've given something a 1 on this list. A couple of you guys here are probably seeing what I gave School Days. Hold on one second, and I will fully explain why. I just wanted to see if I could find something that I gave a 1. Because I know there is something on this list I've given a 1. Because I really thought it was terrible. But I can't find it. Here's 2. Girlfriend got a 2 for me. Free 3. It wasn't my thing. And I thought the characters were a little boring. But that's another episode, if you guys want to hear it. Clockwork Planet got a 9, because it's my guilty pleasure. Can't see anything. I can't find any of the ones I gave. I've definitely given a 1 out of 10. Hold on. I got this. 1 out of 10. Find the next one. Nope. Here we go. I gave the regular Magic High School a 1 out of 10. That's what I gave a 1 out of 10. That one was boring, but I can get into an entire video on that one. Anyway. Let's use this here again. School here is School Days. I have completed it, and I gave it an 11 out of 10. Hence, School Days broke my grading scale. Now, you may be like, because I know there are people who've given School Days 10 out of 10s, and those who've given it 1 out of 10s. And the 1 out of 10s group is like, how could you have given School Days a higher score than Akira? And here's how. I watched Akira and I thought it was a masterpiece. It was a piece of art. Like, it was beautiful. I 100% really enjoyed the movie. But something about School Days, man. I loaded it up. I was watching it and I was like, this is in the perfect anime aesthetic. The exact aesthetic that I would just continuously go to when I was younger and just first gotten into watching anime. So the anime aesthetic itself is just, what do you call it? Iconic. Then they really don't try to get you to like this main character, right? This show has never had me on the verge of tears more than, but also like on the edge of my seat while drinking tea. Like, I ran out of tea and I was like, this show makes me want to go get more tea. So I was watching School Days and I was like, this show is just the perfect amalgamation of everything that makes a show great. Sure, it's got some parts that aren't the best, and it's got some things that maybe you don't like about the show, like Makoto here. You probably don't like as a character. I don't think you were meant to like Makoto as a character in this, because they chose a visual novel's worst route. And so the worst route in a visual novel is the route that the people play when they want to be a-holes, or they want to get with all the girls. And basically, this is what it would look like if you were to play through that route. And I've played a couple of games like that, and they always look like that, and they always end with someone dead. In all the games I've played, at the very least. So, I thought that was really, really cool. 11 out of 10. I think it greatly deserves an 11 out of 10. As you can see around here, it broke the scale because I have, like the Asterisk War at like an 8 out of 10. Jean and the Alchemist Knight at 6 out of 10. Iruma-kun's a 7 out of 10. It's just, a lot of shows are 7 out of 10s these days, or they're 8 out of 10s. Very few make it to 9 and 10. But when they do, you know the show. And something about School Days screamed that it was better than everything else. And that is why I gave it an 11 out of 10. Because you see, I gave Toradora here like a 9 out of 10. Those Snow White Notes, 10 out of 10. The show got me really into wanting to go and learn how to play the Shamanshin. I have yet to do so. There probably isn't a Shamanshin teacher here in the middle of the country in, what state is this, Illinois or United States. I gave The World God Only Knows an 8 out of 10. Spirits of Flora, 1 out of 10. It's not that these are bad shows comparatively. I mean, some are. Like, Spirits of Flora was terrible. But there's just something about School Days that screamed, I break the scale. Unlike some of these other shows, I couldn't, unless I just physically couldn't, had to go to the restroom, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. And that's what I think was so great about School Days. There are shows that I feel could reach this status when given time. Like, I'm Spider. So Spider, so what? Give it a couple more seasons and it does good enough, it could reach 10 out of 10, maybe even 11 out of 10, depending upon what it is. I think the one that I am most currently looking forward to, that is sent to air sometime in the next couple years, is going to be the Akira movie. Not the Akira movie, the Akira anime TV series. When that comes out, I think we'll have another 11 out of 10. Because I think that, well, Akira the anime is a 10 out of 10 show. They could make the TV series an 11 out of 10 or 12 out of 10, beating out the Akira movie. Now, sure, when I go to implement this into my anime list, when I eventually get around to it, this list will have, School Days is a 10 out of 10, but I hope you all got that School Days isn't bad, and it's infamous for that, the ending, but it's good. I highly recommend you watch it, and I highly recommend that you stay, and in the next upcoming days, I will be posting School Days visual novel content. So I hope you guys will come and watch that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, definitely subscribe. That way I can eventually get into doing this full time. And I hope to see you all again in my next video. Journée.